We're breaking down anything and everything Utica City FC related. This is the Keeper's Corner podcast with your hosts, Matt Sterling and Brandon Brooks. Let's get into it.
Hello, welcome to another edition of the Keeper's Corner podcast. Matt and Brandon here.
Evening.
Thanks for joining us. I guess I got to get in this habit since we're doing this live, but let's start off. Hey, if you're new here, please hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Leave a like, leave a comment, just something to keep us in your algorithm.
Wow, hitting the plugs early.
Look, you got to do what you got to do.
Oh, I know. It's YouTube. YouTube is, well, it's YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
So, no, evening, everybody. It is a wonderful Monday evening to be a Utica City fan, mainly because, we already knew this, but we're in the playoffs. So, and we got to come off a win this weekend. It was a win's a win. Who cares who it's against, right?
Yeah, sometimes when things are going rough, you just need to play Harrisburg.
Hey. Breaking the curse, okay? The last time we talked about it last week, we played against a very quote-unquote low-tier opponent a couple years back, and these came out, and it was a bad day. Yesterday, I wore mine. I know you wore part of it from you. You wore part of yours, and we won. So curse is somewhat broken. So I'll take that.
Yeah, just, St. Patrick's Day, I guess, is a little rough in Utica.
Yeah.
Let's get those on the road a little bit more often.
Yeah, right.
It was not a pretty win, and
No.
we'll talk about why, but boy, it's 3 points. It's a big 3 points. It keeps pace with Kansas City and Milwaukee for playoff standings.
Yep.
We'll talk how that shook out a little bit later, but like we've said all season, it's about beating the teams you're supposed to beat.
Exactly.
And since we never got any availability report from Utica, I don't know about you, but I was extremely nervous going into the game.
Oh, for real. It was the fact that a lot of teams didn't submit an availability report, but the fact that Utica, out of all of them, didn't when we had a lot of key players out. It was a little scary. I was concerned, but it all worked out in the end. We had some key components back on the roster, back on the bench.
Yeah.
And although they didn't get to do much, I kind of felt like this was more of we'll call it a warm-up game for potential, just really, I feel like these next 3 games, next 2 games really, are probably the best ones for those key components to come back on the roster so that they get refocused. Obviously they may not play their hardest, which may have been what happened this weekend, potentially, but, just getting them back in the swing of things is key for going into the playoffs.
Yeah, it was a sloppy game at times on Utica's end. It was an unlucky game at times. How many times do we watch a ball bang off the frame?
Yep.
And then it was a very lucky game at times on a couple of those goals.
There were a few of them. Sorry.
This is to make up for the one that hit the post and dinged straight down and then bounced away instead of bouncing in.
I was thinking those couple that Frank put in the top left-hand corner. Oh, just a little bit bigger, and that thing was in. Oh, those would have been real pretty, but just wide, just a hair.
Yeah, we got a Wallace score out of the weekend, so it's always a victory when that happens.
Oh yeah, it's always positive.
But let's talk about this 6-4 victory over the Heat at home. Closes out the season sweep. I'm pretty sure we swept them in 2021, 22. I know we lost one against them in 22 and 23, but that puts Utica at a ridiculous 17-1 record against the Heat since coming out of COVID.
Yeah. Yeah, it's we love quite a few people on the Heat, you know. Mm-hmm. Joey's a great person, love seeing him up in Utica. Dominic Francis is a great guy. Would love to go.
Just unfortunate that his name is so easy for a heckle. Like it's primed.
Yeah, I know.
And you know why it's primed? It's because we were all programmed by watching Deadpool. Where's Francis?
Actually, that would probably be something that Harrisburg's team was asking over the weekend. Where's Francis? He never scored in Utica. Not once. He got 2 assists. Mm-hmm. Never scored. So they might have been saying the same thing.
Yeah, the fans, who knows? But let's start stat that tells the story in this one. And I'm going to agree with Mr. Kuber in our chat there and say that it is the Sogs.
Sogs!
In a game where at times Utica struggled to score and Harrisburg fought back in a way that we probably weren't expecting there at the end of the second quarter, Utica outshot the Heat 32-17. And that's just a microcosm because go watch that first half. For the first quarter, Utica controlled the ball for like 12 minutes of it.
Yep.
It was all Utica, and then it was all Utica to start the second quarter. And then some cracks appeared. And it was fairly, not even fairly even in the third. It was mostly Utica again. Just struck, neither team converting.
Yep.
And then the fourth, we saw things finally open up.
Yeah, no, they definitely had a lot of shots, a lot of Sogs, a lot of them in this game. Mm-hmm. Some of them were better than others, but overall, it was still, a good effort. And there was a lot, like there's a lot that went wide. A lot of them that was like could have been a little bit better, mm-hmm. but overall, yeah, just it was a good afternoon. Just took them a little while to get there.
Yeah, it's not for nothing. I mean, Navarrete had an .840 save percentage.
Yep.
Fantastic. So the math isn't mathing on this. I just looked at it. So if he had 25 shots against and 5 goals allowed and 21 saves, something's not mathing correct. But whatever. Navarrete had a great day in goal for Harrisburg.
Yeah, he created a save out of nowhere.
Yeah.
He saved it, but he didn't.
And hopefully Grant Glorioso is all right.
Yes.
He was taken out early, banged into Frank pretty hard. But
in a sense, I could almost feel like that was somewhat of a detriment to Utica. Mm-hmm. I know why they weren't playing Navarrete. They weren't playing him because he just played. Was it the night before? Or was it the night before that? Blanking. I think it was. They played on Saturday, so he literally played the night before. So I understood why they were trying to play Grant. Unfortunately, yeah, it just.
Sorry.
Unfortunately, no problem. I was just wondering what was going on. I saw my stuff caught out, and I thought that I was doing something wrong. Anyway,
yep, yes. I did something wrong.
Yeah, I figured that out. It was definitely. I felt that it was ultimately a detriment to us. We could have ended up potentially putting more on the board. Navarrete's a great keeper. Glorioso's coming into his own. I don't feel like he's there yet, but a couple years down the road, he's going to be the double G that everyone's going to be looking out for. But Navarrete definitely brought it that night. And no, he had a great game.
Mm-hmm.
My stat isn't one that's actually recorded
Okay.
on the website. We possessed. I felt like we possessed the ball a lot.
Mm-hmm.
We did play with it a little bit, but we really took control of this game by just simply possessing. And that's something that, unfortunately, against some of the more top tier teams,
Mm-hmm.
we end up possessing, sure, but we end up getting it taken away a lot because I don't know, we get comfortable something. So possession time was definitely up there in this one, which was nice to see. It's something that I felt like we hadn't had a ton of. It always felt like, we get it, we rush with it, we shoot it, and that's it. Which I know we can be that kind of style of offense, but we shouldn't be a one-trick pony.
Mm-hmm.
So possession time and seeing that we had a decent bit of it this game was a breath of fresh air. I liked it. I was happy about it.
It was a very different style than we've seen in the past couple games, where it was either high transition, just back and forth, ping pong and around, or bouncing back and forth, really fast paced. Yep. No team really settling into a set offense, or kind of like we saw in Milwaukee, where Milwaukee just ran the show for most of that one.
Yeah, they kind of did. It was not a fun time, unfortunately. So, but you take the good with the bad, you take the bad with the good, and that's a soccer season, folks.
Mm-hmm. All right, Brandon, I took the lead on this last one. Why don't you give me your play that changed the game?
That one's kind of easy.
Okay,
for me. I think there was a lot of tension around the penalty kick for us. 9 times out of 10, who's taking it? Who's out there taking that? Who's out there taking penalty kicks?
You mean the shootout?
Labeled as a penalty kick on the website.
Well, the website.
I'm calling it I know it's a shootout. It was a shootout, but it's still a penalty kick.
The website's also been listing home teams as forfeits for the first few minutes after every game. And it's not like just Utica. It's been every game.
Yep.
So
anyway, Gordy. Game winning Gordy is usually the one out there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he wasn't playing. So I think most people probably assumed it was going to be Frank. Frank's going to take it. No. Big Mo steps up. And I was like, okay, I know Mo can do this.
Mm-hmm.
I know Mo is, he's got, he's excellent at distributing. He's great at taking really just rocket shots, and he can outmaneuver him. I know he can do that. And you know what? It's exactly what he did. And he gave us that 2-point lead, gave us that breathing room. Everyone could take a nice sigh of relief. I think that one was the turning point for me. Yes, we had taken the lead with Belliard's goal, but this one took the pressure off. Mm-hmm. Anytime you're getting that 2-goal lead. This isn't the first time I've picked a 2-goal lead goal as my, play that changed the game. Mm-hmm. Yes, it was nice when we got the third one, because then it's like, that's the nail. Right there's the nail. This is done. Over. But that one took the pressure off. And I was so glad to see not only that we had someone else besides Frank, besides like Nilton or Gordy, which I don't think we've ever seen Nilton take one, but you know what I'm saying? Our top scorers. We brought out Mo, who is somewhat more of I don't want to say a more technical person, but mm-hmm. He could be regarded as that, just given, again, the distribution quality and things like that. I was very happy to see him not only take it, but score with it. So awesome.
Yeah, no, that one, when he lined up, I was like, okay, I'm fine with this, and I figured it would go in, but
yeah,
breathing room's always good to have in the fourth quarter.
Always, always, always.
My play comes much earlier, and it changed things for the worst.
Oh,
It's the Navarrete goal. We've seen teams since they got rid of the dumb rule where goalkeepers couldn't come past midfield until after the third quarter.
yep.
Now if they could get rid of the other dumb goalkeeper rule, that would be great. But
The 2 back.
yeah,
Yeah.
We've seen teams, including Utica, use this kind of pseudo 6 attacker,
Oh yeah.
and it's worked quite a few times this year around the league. We'll mention how it worked in M2 over the weekend.
I was just gonna say.
I think I found our true 6 attacker. But Logan was shading closer to Francis, as he should have been, the more dangerous player there.
Yep.
Navarrete beats him because obviously you're playing their best player, who's up there in total points for the league.
Yep. Top 5.
And then Navarrete just rips one. And you could see the look on Andrew's face on the replay. He was not ready for it.
No.
Didn't see it. No one was ready for it.
No. Very unexpected.
Yes. Very clearly caught Utica off guard. And you think, all right, well, maybe they'll focus up here. But instead, it sparked a Harrisburg run.
Yes.
And it went from a comfortable 3-0 lead before the half to a tie with 12 seconds to play in the half.
That was surprising. And I was like, that's huge momentum for Harrisburg going into the half, because now Utica's got to stew on this for X amount of minutes until they come back out. Like, I'm sure that there were some things said in the locker room like, what?
Yeah, just, don't count out the goalkeepers in this league, guys. Let's not give up another goalkeeper hat trick. And it'd be worse if it was with their feet or on a full-size field.
Always got to throw that jab in there.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, the other game was like 3-3 at the half too. What was it? The Wave and no. Yeah.
Yeah, Wave, they kind of struggled a bit with the outlaw or the sidekicks.
Oh,
but
it's 4-3. Sorry.
But, to be fair, the only other game I paid attention to a little bit was Kansas City against the Ambush, because, as I said in the group chat, happy Blast Elimination Day.
Yeah. I was wondering when it was going to happen.
Yeah, it was only
not so much if, because I mean, granted, hell of a hill to climb for them. But
to answer the question in the chat, the other St. Patrick's Day game, 3-3 at the half. Yes, that one. Oh. The one that we mentioned last week was 3-3 at the half.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot about that. Mm-hmm. Scrubbed it from my memory after last week because you brought it up and you wouldn't let me run away from it.
Repressed memories need to be brought back so we can share in the trauma together.
So the only reason that I say that yes, I do agree that it did temporarily change the game. It wasn't, at least it was short-lived. Mm-hmm. Just one quarter. So I at least will take solace in knowing that it was only a 1 quarter change versus the rest of the game.
I mean, yeah, it was a 5.5 minute collapse, and then we were tied for a whole quarter after that.
Yeah.
Like, this one looked like it was going to be a 10-3 blowout, and then
it wasn't.
It wasn't. stupid Harrisburg couldn't just get one more goal at the end just to give me that 6-5 correct prediction. All right. So that's our stats and tell the story, plays that change the game. For you, what needs to change coming out of this?
So that
gallery, please stop kicking the puppies.
That needs to change. That's gotta
or at least give us a warning so I can mute my mic.
Alarm clock.
It's not an alarm clock. It is a heart attack waiting to happen.
I'm South Security.
So I think something that we need to get back on, I don't know if it's, offensive drills or what, but it seems like we have a hard time getting set up. And then it takes us a long time to get set up. And then on top of that, we have a difficult time finishing. I still feel like a lot of our stuff just is coming in the transition. It's not going to work every time. I really feel like, I know that some of our offensive pieces are just coming back. I know that's been kind of a revolving door. We lose Gordy, we lose Frank, we lose Nilton, we lose Gordy again. We lose, it's a revolving door on the offense. I really feel like we need to focus on shoring up our offense, getting quicker setups, and being able to execute on them. Because it takes us a while. We're passing it back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I still think Frank needs to be the center of it instead of on the edge. He was back in the corner again, where he can't do much of anything. That's not a dig on him. That is just a fact. He's made for the middle of the field, not for the corner. That's just what it appears to be whenever I've watched him on Utica versus when I've watched some of the old Empire stuff. Like, better in the middle. So I really, really think that somehow we need to try and incorporate that, because we will get so much more out of him. Again, not a dig on him at all. But I just think we'd get so much more out of him if he's in the right place. So offensive, like I said, I think that's where we need to be looking at right now, which is surprising considering what we have on offense. It's surprising for me to say, but offensive drills really need to be focusing on, getting set up faster. Yes, my camera's flipped on purpose. Totally lost my train of thought. Yes, we need more Fafa too. Yeah, getting set up faster and executing better on those setups than what we've been doing. There, it finally came out.
Yeah, that set offense. It's just from all the years of watching basketball. I want to call it a half court offense, and I know that it's not it, but
yeah,
attacking third offense still needs polish.
Agreed. Yep.
And time's running out to get that turned into something that's more than flash in the pan.
Flash.
But it did pan out on Belliard's goal. That was and he talked about it in his quick little post-game questions, crash the boards.
Yep.
Just be ready for the rebound. And same with Esox. He got the wall of scoring. Everybody obviously can't crash the box, but you need a couple guys to.
Yep. You brought up a good point. Rebounds, follow up. That's something I don't feel like we do well. You look at our game against Monterey. It wasn't necessarily the first shot you had to worry about. It was the second, and it was the third. It was the follow-ups. Those were the dangerous ones. The first one was dangerous too, but those were more dangerous because there was going to be a few of them. That's another thing that I think we need to work on. Crashing the boards. Our follow-up. Just don't let the first shot be the only shot.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, I guess you got 2 out of me this week. That's 2 things we need to work on.
It's all good. For me, it's, I guess you'd call it stick-to-itiveness. And crashing the boards is part of that. But just not giving up on plays. And there are 2 specific plays that I can think of that are 2 very offensive-minded players kind of gave up on.
Yeah.
And I know it's just frustration boiling over, but I think they both came in the third quarter. One was where NDI swung and missed on a bouncing ball in the box, and the momentum kind of carried him onto the turf. And then you just kind of laid there for a second. And Frank had one where he found the frame again and not the back of the net and hit the turf and then laid there and, slams the turf. I get it. Trust me. It's frustration. It happens. Mm-hmm. The whistle hadn't blown play dead. Got to keep playing until the whistle blows. Because for those seconds, transition can start the other way.
Yep.
We can start off down a guy. And for that time that you're, upset with yourself or maybe upset with an official for, you feel you got fouled and didn't get called, but you're letting your team be at a disadvantage and you're letting down your teammates. Just that fight until the whistle blows. And then when the whistle blows, stop. Don't go kicking the ball at anyone lying on the ground or jawing or, other stupid things we've done this year that have gotten us in trouble.
The extracurriculars.
Yes.
Cut out the extracurriculars. So are you trying to say that Utica has commitment issues? Committing to the plays? Is that what you're trying to say? What?
No, what I'm saying is sometimes our players let their emotions get the better of them and they get a little too busy beating up on themselves.
Yeah, I know.
Instead of beating the ball into the back of the net.
Yep, they do. They definitely
or beating the opponent down the turf to get back on defense.
There's a time to sulk, and it's not in the middle of the game, it's afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can beat yourself up if you really want to. We don't encourage it.
Yeah.
But
goldfish. Goldfish mentality.
Yeah. Forget about it.
Just watch some Ted Lasso.
Perfect.
Okay, Peanut Gallery. We're not talking about those goldfish.
Oh. I am a goldfish.
The crunchy ones?
Yes.
I didn't even hear, so.
She's just over there doing the jingle.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Just again, like you said, work on the offense in the attacking third, the set where you have control of the ball, and work on finishing plays. What's your positive takeaway? Well, actually, I should probably take that because I've let you go first on the last 2.
Why don't you do it?
Positive takeaway. We got a couple healthy guys back. Frank and Nilton, who, I'll be honest, I was highly skeptical if they were going to show up this week. Came back to play. And it's generally good news on the injury front. Gordy's able to run. We'll probably rest unless it comes down to needing him to suit up with positioning on the line in the final game.
Yeah.
Which we're all going to be San Diego Sockers fans on Saturday or Friday night for that reason.
Yep.
And then Rafa seemed pretty good. Still had a slight hitch in his step, but it's a contusion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, it's luckily it's not anything more significant. And Timmy will have word on his injury back later this week, whether he's cleared or will be shut down. That's what it is. But Gordy should be good to go for the playoffs. Rafa could be back as soon as this weekend, might not be back until next, or depending on if seeding is wrapped up at that point, might just sit out until the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's very possible. It is.
Mm-hmm. And Fafa Godoy has disappeared into the ethereal mists.
No. He is still roaming the countryside, looking for the men that wronged his brother. He will find them, and he will kill them with dogs.
Well, I can tell you where he'll probably be at some point, and that'd be at the world famous KC Soccer Dome, training for the KC Comets.
Yeah.
I may have heard Eric Bergrud say that phrase one too many times to describe the training grounds there. That's what happens when you try to keep up with all the other teams in the league through their podcasts. And that one starts with, "We are once again at the world famous KC Soccer Dome." Yeah, we're getting healthy. It's important. We got 2 games this weekend, so health is still a big factor at this point in the season.
Oh, definitely.
All right, Brandon, what's your positives besides what I just took, because you looked pretty upset about it?
Oh, no, you're not getting extra out of me. No. That was my positive takeaways. Literally, that's what I wanted. You stole mine. Not fair. Probably because you knew it was just the low hanging fruit. Like it's right
no,
there.
Actually, I had nothing else
there.
I was just like, I should probably take this first because I made him go first on the last 2, and then I panicked and was like, wait, what is there?
Well, at least he admits it. No, that was literally it. Like there was nothing more positive to talk about. Is just the fact that we're getting back, we're getting healthy. That's what we want to see. We want to see our guys getting back active on the roster, not being, out. Like that's unfortunate when we have that stuff to deal with. So I tried to drag that out as long as humanly possible while I'm the only one here. So we do need more Fafa. I do definitely agree with that. I think we should have an honorary Fafa jersey made up. That needs to happen. He's now become a integral part of the roster, Fafa Godoy. So should definitely have his own jersey.
Welcome back. Sorry about that.
I kept him entertained.
Good. Because I just kept Kate entertained.
That's not easy to do.
That was uncomfortable.
Really? Because it was killing me.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed me getting a Charlie horse that had me saying a lot of very colorful things.
Not as much as when I was getting a tattoo.
I was like, uh-oh, my leg's just locking up, and nope, I need to get away from this now.
Run.
It was funny.
Yeah, it's bad when I have to put up a footrest on my chair so I can keep the leg elevated to stretch it out. All right, so what were you saying?
Oh, yeah, I was just talking about the fact that the roster's getting healthy. We're getting guys back active. Maybe still some cobwebs to shake out, but we're getting there. And then just talked about that we need a Fafa Kajoy jersey. So there's that. He's part of this team now. He's integral.
Okay, well, it is
new 72 special for Fafa.
I'll see what I can do on that end.
Make it happen.
I don't know if the higher ups will sign off on it, but what did I want to go do?
I don't know.
I wanted to pull up the standings. That's what I wanted to do, so that we can talk about.
Do we talk about the league first and then talk about the standings? Because
Sure,
the league
sure.
kind of talks about the standings. So
Go for it. Why don't you let us know what happened this past weekend?
all right. So let me pull up my 90-second timer. This is 90 seconds around the league. So first off, we had a pair of Sockers versus Strikers. Unfortunately for the Sockers, they dropped both of them with a 10-3 and 11-5 victory for the Sockers, both home and away. The second being televised on the Golazo Network. Great broadcast as always, but just fell short, unfortunately. Tacoma gave the Sidekicks a bit of a thrashing on the 13th, 12-2. We had the Savage dropping 2 games to the Stars, with Justin Stinson getting a hat trick in one of them, and also getting 2 of the shootout goals in the shootout of the second game for the 5-4 win in the second game, and then a regulation 7-6 win for the first one. The Heat versus the Blast. Heat traveled to the Blast and ended up dropping a game 7-5. It's always hard to play in Baltimore. And we also had the Comets versus the Ambush, which ended up knocking out Baltimore out of the playoffs with an 11-5 victory. Finally, the Wave had a bit of a trouble against Dallas with a 11-9 victory. I was close. Went over by about second.
Yeah, but almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades.
Yeah, well, I didn't have to rehearse it.
Yeah, well, I didn't rehearse mine. I just scripted it.
Yeah, see, I didn't do that. I was literally clicking between tabs.
Yeah.
And I missed one. So
Yeah.
Because there was the rematch of the Outlaws versus the Flash that I was highly anticipating. I was really hoping that, this was going to be a really good matchup considering the last time these two teams met, and the Flash stomped them 9-2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, that was quite a bit that happened.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
It was a lot of games.
As we've mentioned, Kansas City's victory knocked Baltimore out of playoff contention. They are eliminated. It's the first time in 17 years they've been eliminated from whatever indoor league they were playing in, that league's playoffs. But the playoff fields are set but not set. We know that Monterey, Milwaukee, Utica, and Kansas City will be playing in the East, and that the Sockers, the Savage, the Stars, and the Outlaws will be playing in the West. We know that Monterey has the number 1 seed overall.
Yes.
We know that San Diego has the number 1 seed in the West. What we don't know is anything else.
Yeah, pretty much.
In the West, it looks like Texas is probably going to be the 4 seed. They started hot, and they have struggled down the stretch. Overall, they are 10, 11, and 1. They have a -1 goal differential at this point in the season. And with 2 games to play, the teams that they are chasing... Actually, no, that means they are the...
I was going to say there's no way. There's no way they can catch.
They can't catch Tacoma or the Savage. So
nope.
Chihuahua and Tacoma have games in hand against them. I guess the interesting race there is can Tacoma, which trails Chihuahua by 1 point, catch them?
I mean, the fact that just beat them twice.
And they've added Mijatovic and Stinson.
Right.
Depending on how the game goes this week on Friday for Milwaukee, will determine how Utica fares. 3 points keeps us ahead of KC no matter what. As things stand, Milwaukee can max out at 50 points.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
We can max out at 51. But if we tie them at 50, we would have the advantage on regulation wins. Because they'd win 2 more, we'd win 2 more. It'd be 15-14. Utica gets the advantage there.
Right.
So we need 8 points in our favor to lock up the 2 seed. How that happens doesn't really matter. We'll know. We could know as soon as this weekend, because if Milwaukee loses against San Diego, which isn't a given.
No, it's not. Not in Milwaukee.
Like, San Diego's locked up the 1 seed. They could rest a couple guys. They haven't been the healthiest this year. And Milwaukee has been very good at home. They're 9-0-2, with the only 2 losses coming in overtime against the Flash.
Yep.
So that game is Friday night at 7:30 here in the East.
Mm-hmm.
Going to be must-watch TV if you can watch it.
No, it's must watch. You must watch.
No. I would love to. And then Utica can obviously get 6 points playing the ambush twice.
Yes.
Kansas City can only get to 45. If they do that, we just need 3 points to tie them and stay ahead. And the thing, like we mentioned last week, that has Utica favorable to get the 2 seed is we have these 2 games against the ambush at home. We play at Baltimore, where we've already won this year, and we've beaten them 4 out of 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
And Milwaukee finishes at Monterey.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be... It's always tough to play in Monterey. And, I mean, the fact that that is literally the one game that is keeping Monterey from having a perfect season as far as winning, not as far as points. They're going to want that game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're not going to, most likely not going to rest people. They have a very deep roster, and it's going to be, they're going to be gunning for that game. They're going to want it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be tough for Milwaukee in Monterey.
Yeah, that's always going to be interesting.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, technically, with the way things are standing, as Huber pointed out in chat, if Kansas City wins, they'd go to 45 points and jump Milwaukee.
Yeah.
If Milwaukee loses in regulation in both games, and Utica wins in regulation one of these next 3, we'd be the 2 seed playing Kansas City as the 3.
Yep. Which, the Battle of the Blue Turf is always fun to watch.
So, again, this weekend's going to be huge because, like we said, Sockers play at Milwaukee Friday night. And then they play at Kansas City on Saturday night. At the same time as Utica Ambush. So, keep your phones locked into that one as you're watching on the blue turf. And then, paying attention to the other game on the other blue turf.
Blue turfception.
And depending on how things go this weekend, we might have to pay attention to the game on the other blue turf.
The one that's way south.
Yeah, I'm okay with blue turf takeover of this league.
Blue turf takeover.
That's where things stand as we head into the final 2 weeks of the season.
Came too fast.
Que sera, sera.
Last 2 weeks of the regular season.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So this weekend, 2 home games. We get the Ambush, who just got beat down at home by Kansas City. And they traded, I believe, Vic Morligwe to Texas, the Outlaws, to give them a little boost in the playoff push, which severely hurts their offense that's been clicking much better since they had SK and Ligwe and Robbie Christo all working together. And
yeah, as far as and they released 3 people as well.
Yeah, I don't know if they played that much, though.
Yeah, I just happened to see that, they dropped a few. And as far as I'm aware, from what I had seen, it was a straight trade, not a loan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just as traded. Just like the Sidekicks trading Quintana to the Savage.
Right.
So how do we see this weekend shaking out?
So this one's a unique situation, I feel. Normally I feel like if we're going to see a series for teams, it's usually one at home, one away. In this instance, we're seeing 2 at home for Utica, which, of course, anyone that's playing in Utica, it's always a tougher place to play because the crowd definitely has some, I don't want to say pull, but we definitely get involved. And so it makes it more difficult for teams coming in. So Utica's got that in its favor, number one, for both of these games. With the fact that we're healthy again, let's put a scenario out there. If the Sockers beat the Wave, and we beat the Ambush in game 1 full strength, does Utica play the second? Does Utica rest people in the second one? That's the big question. I think that's going to help. That's going to shape the landscape of this game.
Okay.
So I think the first one, given our last time we played them, where we were actually the away team, we beat them 7-3. I'm going to say we're looking at a 9-4 in the first game. The second game, I'm going to say potentially we could be looking at a maybe 6-4 if we do end up having the ability to rest certain people. I could see that, being a closer game. And it could go either way in that one. Like, it could be 6-4 either direction. But I think that's what we might be looking at for the second one.
Okay. So I think Utica's going pedal to the metal all weekend. Because the most surefire way to lock up that 2 seed is to win out. And 9 points sounds great. But if you can lock up 6 this weekend, your odds get a lot better regardless of what Milwaukee or Kansas City do.
That is true.
Now, the last game, they had Vic Morligwe added at that point. He hadn't been there that long, but they were rested. We had just played the night before in Kansas City. And if I remember correctly, we'd played 2 nights before in Kansas City.
I'd have to look back at the schedule here.
Yeah, I'm trying to take it back. Eastern Division. Utica scores. I think it was. Yeah, first? We played the night before in Kansas City.
Yep.
And it was an 8:00 start to a 7:00, so like the game ends at 10:30 at night, and then it's shower, drive across the state, or shower, hotel, drive across the state the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And game is 23 hours after the start of the one before.
Right.
Which in this league, we know teams do that. It's not an easy task. Anytime a team has to do that. One of the reasons we should give kudos to Harrisburg in this last game for competing.
Oh, yeah. No.
They played in Baltimore Saturday night, then had to drive up. I think Utica cleans their clock in both games. I'm talking 8-3, 9-4.
Just thinking they're going hard. All right.
You want that 2 seed.
You do. 100%.
2 seed. You really don't want to be going to Milwaukee for a mini game. You don't want to go to Kansas City for a mini game. Honestly, I'd like to avoid a mini game, given our record in them.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no, I definitely. If we can avoid a mini game, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, go all out, and I guess we'll talk about this here since Huber seems to think that they split the goalkeepers this weekend, which I can absolutely see that happening. Yeah, if Wilkin gets the goal for one of the games, we might have a little offensive boost coming from the goalkeeper position. For those that did not pay attention to United Elite this season, they wrapped up their home games this weekend. They were both overtime against Orlando, and in both games, Ryan Wilkin scored the game-tying goal with less than 2 minutes to play to force overtime. And they were both left-footed rockets.
Oh, yeah, they were.
One on the volley, which I was fortunate enough to catch last night. And he had 2 goals in the game before that. So 3 goals in 2 games. I know it's M2. Not quite the same quality of player. But I like that as a pseudo 6 attacker option.
Oh, no, I'm not. I definitely am not against it. I mean, I could definitely see him, helping with a push for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wonder if you could. I mean, is there any reason you? I'm trying to think. Like, I don't necessarily know if you have to, designate a specific person as your 6th attacker. I assume not. I would assume it's just giving somebody the jersey.
Whoever puts on that jersey, yeah.
But in this case, just sub out the keeper. Just sub out the keeper and put Wilkin in.
Keeper. Yeah. And then you have a keeper.
Then you got a keeper, 6th attacker.
Mm-hmm. He was the one calling the shots in the set piece, too, that set up his volley.
Which I love seeing from him.
Yeah.
Because that was something we've talked about, that he doesn't seem to have that, we'll say veteran presence on the field to kind of be directing traffic like Coughlin does. And now we're noticing all of a sudden he's starting to try and do that. And I like that.
Plus, I appreciated that when he ran back down the turf, he celebrated with the Cristiano Ronaldo. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you had a lot of Utica guys over there for that. But yeah. So we're both picking Utica to win both.
Big surprise there, I know. Shocker. Absolute shocker.
Yeah, it is what it is. We're homers. We'll admit it.
I mean, I've
picked against them a few times.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know I've picked against them a few times, when it's just, it's just logical.
And usually I'm like, hey, you guys did a lot of stuff wrong this past weekend. You got to re-earn my trust. I'm not picking you against a team that's pretty evenly matched. And then they go out and handle business and make me look like a fool. So
Yeah, they like doing that.
It's that podcaster's reverse jinx.
Yep.
Oh, wow, Utica can't find the net. Send tweet. Tweet loading, still sending, and there's Utica finding the goal.
Net.
Anything else from us tonight, Brandon?
Oh, I don't believe so.
What, Peanut Gallery?
Pretzels are awesome, but we need corn dogs.
No.
Yeah, we need corn dogs in that arena. I'm sorry.
We don't need anything from the Wellington family.
Corn dogs.
Corn dogs.
That's just the redneck cousin of the beef Wellington.
I've wanted the corn dog in that arena for so long. Give me corn dogs.
No.
I don't even know you anymore.
Apparently not, because I don't even like hot dogs. So why would I like a corn dog?
I didn't say anything about them being for you. For me.
All right. Thank you for joining us tonight in the chat. I'm Matt. He's Brandon. Leave a like, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. All that social media stuff that's coming up in the outro. Until next time, go Utica.
Bring the dogs.
Thank you for listening to the Keeper's Corner podcast on whatever podcast app you use. Please make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. If you'd like to interact with us, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and Twitter or X, whatever you prefer to call it. We have a TeePublic shop where you can get UCFC player swag or help support the podcast. Thank you. We appreciate it. And one last thing, go Utica City.